Hey everybody, my name is Ray Gonzalez, and I'm the Bari sax player for the Houston Jazz Orchestra. Today we're going to be discussing Saxophone Etude number 2 for the Region Jazz Tryout. Tips and tricks, Etude 2, the ballad. Overall, stay extremely light with the articulation. There's a lot of room on this to show off your tone, show off your vibrato, and general your overall musicianship. There's going to be a lot of room for that, a lot of space for that. There's nothing too technically demanding about this etude. We're going to be playing this etude at 60 beats per minute, so obviously the ballad, it's going to be a lot technically easier. So a lot of space to show off that great vibrato, that tone quality you've been working on for several years. So when I say be lighter with your articulation, I'm going to give you the example of, I'm going to play the first 3 measures for you, and I hope you can get the idea of what I'm talking about. So this is the first few bars of the etude. Am I slurring? Am I not? I don't know. It was a very extremely tippy tip of the tongue to the tip of the reed. Very light articulation is exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing that I need you to pay close attention to happens in bar 4 and bar 5. We need to make sure that we know the difference between the triplets at the end of measure 4 and that 8th note, 16th note rhythm that happens at the beginning of bar 5. This for me, now if I'm invited to judge, I'm going to be paying close attention to the difference between the triplets and that 8th note, 16th note rhythm. Take a listen. This is bar 4. try to differentiate that. And again, I cannot stress enough the use of a metronome when you're doing this. We'll talk later about laying back, playing with tempos and things like that, and that's something you can discuss with your private teacher or whoever it is that mentors you at your school. Let's see, what is the rule about accidentals carrying through the measure? Specifically, I don't know. Let's see, bar 16. How many of you missed that? Oh no, that's an A flat as well, isn't it? Okay, so. And the same thing happens in bar 10. Accidentals carry through the measure. I can't tell you how many times I see people forget that in as long as they've been preparing an etude. Take a listen to bar 10. That A flat at the beginning, also the last note of the measure, carries through. There's no courtesy accidental, but you need to be on top of that. I mentioned earlier that you want to be as light with your articulation, particularly your tonguing. No tongue stops in this etude, in my opinion. If you're going to use a tongue stop, I think the only place, in my opinion, should be in bar 12, the effect there. And then you're back to your regular, light, very smooth, as legato as possible articulation. Now, one thing you may have noticed about my performance of this etude is that I kept it pretty simple. In my experience, I think your best weapon is going to be your knowledge and preparation of the etude. I see a lot of young people who try to come in and inflect and scoop every note and try to use all sorts of, tricks. My big thing on that is that there is no substitute for preparation on these things. On those lines, there's one spot that I really liked. It was in bar 7. I made a big scoop into the high D that happened there. It was something that I thought it was a really great idea. It was a very Johnny Hodges thing of me to do, and we'll talk a little bit about him in a little bit. But here's what I did at bar 7. I'm just going to give you bar 7. That wasn't written in there. That was a stylistic choice that I made. You can do that. Again, please discuss these types of things with a mentor, a teacher, a band director, a private teacher, somebody. There's a lot of space on this to be very musical, and I hope you'll take the time. There's a couple of listening assignments that I'd like to give you in general to get kind of stylistically what Saxophone Etude 2 is supposed to sound like, and from what I can tell. Johnny Hodges, one of my favorite lead alto players, ever in history, spent a bunch of years with the Duke Ellington Orchestra. There's a lot of space here to get some Johnny Hodges in there. Weary Blues from his back-to-back album with Duke Ellington, I think, is a great example. Also, I've Got It Bad and That Ain't Good from his album with Billy Strayhorn. Both some really great examples. Try to find some recordings to listen to. I think if you're trying to learn the jazz idiom, the jazz genre in general, you have to immerse yourself in the language, listen a whole lot. You can't just read notes on a page and expect to be able to get it. So my biggest advice on this etude and the other etude that we talked about, try to listen. Just listen. Best advice I can give you. And practice with metronome. I hope this has helped. Lots of luck on your auditions, and good luck. See you next time.